It's working this time! Hello everybody. How are we all? Good evening one and all. It is Wednesday. And we are live. I have some donut in my beard. Let's get rid of that. Tyler Troutman, member for 1 month. Bombardment! That is all. Thank you for being a member. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the bombardment. We are live. We are hanging out. We are happy to be here. We are painting this Pusgoyle Blightlord tonight. In preparation for the video that will go live tomorrow or Saturday. The Finol. Eh, the amazing Warhipster. Hello. That's very kind of you. All hail George the Legend. Indeed, Hunter SWC. Speaking of George the Legend, we have a Custodes Dreadnought. This video is coming live to you very, very soon. We have 2 more Custodes Dreadnoughts to do. We have the Galatas and the Telemon. They will both be getting their videos. Good evening, Alex. Boo to you, Captain Mannerings. Oh, good evening, Dan Buster. How are you all on this fine evening? Please do me a favour and like the stream. That would be very kind of you. Let's pump those numbers. We're looking to get to 50 likes. That would be lovely. Want to say a massive thanks. I watched maybe 8 times on how to paint Drazar. That's a lovely model, Drazar. He's a lovely model. And thank you. Thank you for watching it. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Hot and bothered. I too am hot and bothered. It is quite humid. It has been for the last couple of days. It's been unpleasant. I'm very well, thank you. I'm live. We're hanging. We're chilling. We're straight up chilling. We've got our YouTube subscribe account back. YouTube's no longer throwing a wobbly and it's allowing me to have that. As you can see, we are a quarter of a way to the 45,000. And we're almost, I mean, we're quite a fair way off it, but we're slowly getting towards my dream come true of 100,000. So I can get a silver play button and my life will be complete. Until I want the gold one. First Warhammer YouTuber to get a gold play button. Let's go! So for those of you who are here, allow me to show you some of the cool things that are coming up for you over at Warhipster Tower. So I have finished one of the Blightlords. There he is. So there's the Pusgoyle Blightlord that I have done. I'm pretty pleased with it. I think it looks cool. And today I have painted this much of the next Blightlord. So the actual fly itself is pretty much finished. But it's the Blightlord on top that's not. But for those of you who haven't already seen, we do have now fully based the Vampire Lord. There it is. So this is coming, part of Tale of Many Warhipsters. And I figured that because we are now in Tale of Many Warhipsters, the live streams will have the description of Tale of Many Warhipsters. So, for those of you who want to take part, you can see the deadlines and all that kind of thing in the description below, should you wish to. You can also follow this the link in the description below to get your submissions in. But there we go. There's our Vampire Lord. I followed one of my own tutorials yesterday and painted up Trajann Valoris. There he is. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Turns out I know what I'm talking about. So yep, followed that tutorial and very pleased with how that's come out. In addition, as previously shown, we have ourselves a Achilles Dreadnought. Very cool. One of the dreadnoughts that was gifted to the channel on that infamous live stream over a year ago. I know it doesn't seem that long ago, does it, Captain Mannerings? 40k was just like... It was like June. It was June. I wanted 40k in time for 40k. We have our finished Primaris champion. I just need to pop some tufts on that, and he is done. Good afternoon, Philip Gomez. Can we enter multiple things for Tales, by the way, Josh, in the same way, like if we choose to do multiple armies? You absolutely can, Dambuster. Of course you can. Here is one of my projects. Here is another of my projects. There you go. And I've got 2 more to do. Got 2 more to do. We've got the Witch King of Angmar. As you can see, he's on a base. He's on a painting handle, so that means he's next. As well as his foot companion. And I think next week we'll do a stream where I figure out how to paint the Kroot. If I don't get through all of this stuff as quickly as I'm probably perhaps intending to do. The base, yes, it does look like it matched the Sector Imperialis because it comes from the Sector Imperialis kit. And you can get those bases for those custodies from the Sector Imperialis. Gonna keep the fisty boy clean or grime him up? That would be up to Peter. He's probably gonna stay clean though. I like a clean Space Marine. Thinking of doing custodies with Green Stuff World Color Shift Burning Gold. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I've not seen it, but I'm sure it'll look pretty. Good evening, afternoon for you, master of contrast paints. It's the evening here. It's 9:15. So, for those of you who haven't seen me do this before, basically I'm going to be filming this guy, and I'm going to be doing it live. But in order to do that, I have to do the kind of first minute of the paint job off camera, and then I continue it on camera with you. But you'll hear all of the same, you know, the voiceovers and things. So for those of you out there aspiring to do YouTube channels, you can see how I do things. And you can copy me if you wish. So that's everything I've done that's coming up this next couple of weeks. As some of you may have noticed, we've slowed down a little bit on the video front because I wanted to get some rest. And Thorsten Klitsch, I hope that's how I say your name. Thank you very much for becoming a member. That is very, very kind of you. Our first new member of the day. We are aiming for 400. Although, unfortunately, that does mean that somebody needs to gift 69. Nice. There are 69 people watching right now. Nice. Hello, Matty Man 21. Hello, Go For It Painting. Could the Witch King mounted work as a Lord Solar Broxy base model? Oh no, he's far too small. far too small for Lord Solar. Lord Solar's enormous. Like, uncomfortably big. He's up there, I can't get him. Right, so. The next colour I need is Runelord Brass. And like I said, I'm going to film, like, a minute. And then I'll come back and show you what I'm doing. But you'll be able to see me. We've got quite a bluesy soundtrack today. Hello, Lacuva 13. How's it going? I might need a slightly smaller brush than this. Small layer brush, that'll do. Any leftover sandwich plates today? No. No. No, we don't have any of those. Right. I'm going to hit the record button. I just need to mute. So here we go. This is how it works, right? So with all of that lead belcher applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Runelord Brass. And we're going to pick out the areas we want to be slightly different. So areas such as like the trim on his tummy, just under here. Just going to very carefully negotiate our brush in there. Like that sort of thing. And as you can see, that lead belcher provides a really nice base for applying the Runelord Brass. Means we won't have to kind of go in there and do two coats or anything like that. We're going to apply it over areas such as like the skull here on the scythe, or man reapers they're occasionally referred to. And we're going to pick out things like this spike up here, and of course the cauldron back here. There we go. And we're back. There we are. Don't need that open. So yeah, here we are. We're applying Runelord Brass. I think it'd be a bit of a shock if I wasn't applying new Runelord Brass, right? So I hope everybody's having a good week. And you know what I was thinking earlier? I might add a 5th project to my Tale of Many Warhipsters pantheon. And that is to continue growing the Grand Army of Chaos. Which would be useful for me, right? Because I'd already be 3 units in the lead. Oh, got a little bit of Runelord Brass where we don't want it. Got it. This has been a proper bouncy boy. This this model is not very sturdy on the base because it's all like side loaded. The other one, solid as a rock, but this one, he's been a little unwieldy at times. But if I pick up a Maggot Kin of Nurgle Vanguard box, I would have everything I need to finish off a Maggot Kin of Nurgle army, aside from maybe one of the Glockkin or the Maggoth Lords. But I like the Great Unclean one a lot. Maggoth Lords are really good though. There we go. I think that's all of the Rune Lord brass that we need. We do have these little spikes here. On the elbow. For those who don't know, these things are enormous. They're also incredibly powerful in Age of Sigmar. Oh, we have a little bell up here that we should do as well. I was shocked at how big these are. And I really shouldn't have been, because Putrid Blight Kings are big boys anyway, so they require a big steed. But like, you combine this with... You compare this to something like the new Harbinger of Despair, and he's tiny in comparison. I don't think I'd ever seen these in the wild. So like, Space Marine for reference. Lacuva 13. No, you do not need to be a member to participate in a Tale of Many Warhipsters. You absolutely don't. You can take part, regardless of your allegiances. All you have to do is just watch last week's stream. That'll give you all the insights and info, and then you just need to submit a picture once per month of the one unit that you did. A Christmas Nurgle Army Commission. Christmas Nurgle. Christmas with Burr. Grandfather Nurgle. What's better, YouTube or Patreon? Both are marvellous. Whichever you like. Are they too fragile for transport? Oh, no, no. Like, they're... Like, look, he's a bouncy boy. But, like, he's very steady. He's not, like, going anywhere. And like I said, this one is steady as a rock. Like, it doesn't have any give in it whatsoever. Whereas that's an unfair test. Just do that. So that he's not going anywhere. Now we have the fun moment where I have to wait for everything to dry a little bit longer than I do normally when I'm painting live, because you really desperately, when you're filming, you don't want the colour to run, and it can. Ugh. Oh, is that? Yeah, I can't really lay it down flat. I got to second the Captain Mannering suggestion. How can we help to get you on the painting phase? I believe if you just yell at them and tell them they should invite me on, then maybe they will. I'd love to go on and talk to them. That'd be fun. We talk about all things contrast paint. They can be like, how do you feel about contrast paint? And I'll be like, I've got 600 videos, lads. I think it's 600 videos. I can't remember how many it is now. It's an uncomfortable amount of videos. A very comfortable amount of videos. I have 637 videos. Not bad for a one-man band, eh? And a fair bit of sharp. Yep. Hi, Warhipster. Love your vids. Excellent painting. Thank you, Silverbox. That's very kind of you. Glad to see this tutorial after many years of being away from the hobby. I'm now enjoying building and slowly trying to paint my Nurgle army. Nurgle are the ones I've neglected. Khorne I haven't neglected. Khorne I'm nearly done. For me to finish my Khorne army, all as I have to do is 5 Fleshhounds, 20 Bloodletters, and 3 Blood Crushers and a Bloodmaster. So basically the contents of a combat patrol. Excluding 5 Fleshhounds, because there's 10 in the combat patrol box. But I don't need another 10 because I've already got 5, and I just need the 1 unit of 10 because I don't have the points. Sadly, at the moment, don't have the points to take 15. Slaanesh, similarly, I've done 30 Demonettes, I've done 9 Fiends, I've done a Keeper of Secrets. I need to do Shalaxi Hellbane. Because for Khorne, I've done Skulltaker, I've done Scarbrand, and I've done a Bloodthirster. So for Slaanesh, I need to do Shalaxi Hellbane to go with that army. And I need to do some Seekers of Slaanesh. I need to pick some up to do that. I think I plan to do like 20 Seekers of Slaanesh, because that would go really nicely into the Slaanesh bit. Tzeentch, again, I've done the pink horrors. I need to do blue horrors and brimstones, but I've done 20 pinks. I've done 9 screamers. I need to do a few more screamers. I did some flamers for YouTube. I don't really like flamers in demons armies. I think there's better ways to spend your points. I even thought that when they were the hot sauce in 9th. So yeah, they're great, but there's better ways of. But they don't implement very well into a demon's army, I didn't think. Whereas for Nurgle, all I have done publicly to this point was the Great Unclean One, Sloppity Bile Piper, and some Plague Bearers. So the AOS side of things going pretty strong now, because we've got the Harbinger of Despair, we've got Putrid Blight Kings, and now Pusgoyle Blightlords. I need to pick up some Rotflies, a Beast of Nurgle as well. Hot Skull, hello from Belgium. I wanted to say a big thank you. It's thanks to you that I dared to tackle painting after my resumption of Warhammer. Sorry for my English. There was nothing wrong with your English there. That was perfect. And Silver Fox, thank you very, very much for becoming a member. That is very kind of you. Very kind of you indeed. Oh. We don't have 32. We have 33. There we go. 332. It's very kind of you, Silver Fox. Thank you very much. Now we're no longer on the magic number. Left to go. Let's see how he's going. It is going to be time to shade this very shortly. Runelord Brass is still drying at the moment. If you ever want a tip to figure out whether your paint is dry or not, if you use a normal dry palette, just look at it on the palette. If you haven't thinned down too much, that is. If you thin down just the right amount, you can just touch it, which is what I've just done there. And as you can see, probably quite, yeah. See, this is a blob of Runelord Brass. It's not quite dry yet. That's one of the things I do though when I'm checking to see if paint's fully dry or not. Because if it ain't dry on the planet, then it's probably not dry on the model as well. I wanted to say thanks for all the videos in the past few months. Improved my skate painting skills a lot. You are very welcome, Barry. I mean, yeah, Alec. Please send it through. I don't think you can send links on YouTube, but I think you can. You could, if you've got it on Instagram or something or another social media, just like message me or something. For your model cabinet behind you, can you share how many shelves you've got and what's the brand? Yes, so I have. These are IKEA cabinets. These ones here. Let's go to face cam. So these are the Detolf cabinets. They used to do them in black. They don't do them in black anymore. They do them in white. I think that's it. And it comes with 1, 2, 3 shelves in each one. But then you obviously have the deck as well. So I've got 2, so I've got 6 shelves in total. But then I bought some additional shelves from Amazon by just looking up Detolf shelves. And I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additionals. So what's that? 1, 2, 3 plus the deck. So 4, 8 plus 6. 14. I have 14 shells in total. Yes, it is a Detolf cabinet. I think I can send links. Oh, they do have it in black. Oh, they do in America. I don't know why it's giving me the American IKEA site. Why are you giving me the American site? IKEA. I can't spell apparently. Oh no, they don't sell it anymore. Well, it's currently out of stock maybe. They have something called a Blalladon, which is basically the same thing. But yeah, there you go. That is how we roll. Does he know if that cabinet has additional shelves so that you can create density? You can buy extra shelves for them from not IKEA. Okay, we're dry. We can shade. Yes. Yeah, the Billy bookcase can be turned into a cabinet as well. It's really good, that one. Okay. Next clip. So with all that Rune Lord brass applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to use this to shade all of our metallics, so silver and brass at the same time. Give it that really kind of dirty, rusty look, which is oh so fitting for the servants of the Grandfather. Done. Got maybe slightly a too big a brush for this, but you know. I'll soldier on. A little bit of overspill there, but that's fine. I'm a big fan of this little cauldron back here. I know one thing I was going to ask you guys is like alternative demon schemes something that you would be into? Because I think about it from time to time about like how I would do things like blood letters, for example, slightly differently to how I've done them in the past. And I just think, I don't know if anybody would really want to see that. Because it's like, well, you know, you've done it once before. And at the risk of, you know, seeming like a one-trick pony, you don't want to keep doing the same things over and over again. You know? Is that all of that? No. Answer my own question there. There we go. Lovely. Cold fire type blood letters. That's interesting. Matty the Fatty. I don't know if you've spoken on this before, but are you open to doing commissions? I am. I am full at the moment. I've got plenty of commissions on that I need to get on with. So I don't have any space to pick up any more at the moment. I'm also being quite selective about the types of commissions that I do take on, because it's all well and good taking on a commission, but when you're trying to run a YouTube channel, if somebody commissions an army that you've already filmed, it's a case of, do you not make videos, or do you do you film the same things again? So it's like, I had a number of people ask me for a commission painted Angron, and it's like, well, Angron took me 2 days, so if I do 4 other Angrons, there's 8 days where I'm not filming anything because I'm painting Angron, and I've already done them, so I can't film it again. So then it's like the YouTube audience suffers, misses out. I wanted to do a Be'lakor style paint scheme Demon's Army, but would love to see other ideas. Oh, I see what you mean, like a shadow, an army of shade. Okay, I need Blood Fort Blood God. Sup, Vilka? How you doing, buddy? Okay. Here we go. Next one. So with all that Agrax Earthshade applied, we're then going to take some blood for the Blood God, and we're going to add this over a number of different areas. So firstly, we've got the guts spilling out up here. I'm just going to add that in nice and tastefully. We're going to apply this inside the wounds on the back here as well. Like that, and like that. We're also going to be picking out any of the little maggots that are scattered around the model. We've got the neck stumps. On our heads as well. I'm going to apply this around the kind of absence of eyeballs. Like that. And what we're also going to do on the fly now is going to pick out those exact same things, but inside those larger wounds, I'm going to add a little bit of the blood for the bug god. Just like this. Bosh. There we go. That's on purpose, Nate. It's because I'm filming it. And I can't stream it and film it at the same time. I don't have the power. What I am showing you is my workflow of how I do things. And you get to see the second half of it. Oh, itchy head. I think that's all the areas I want blood. Oh no, we've got a little one just under here. Oh. I think there's a little maggot just in here. Yes. There we go. Sat wanting to paint at my desk but can't get the motivation to start. Sean, that happens to me all the time. All the time. I will sometimes come upstairs knowing that I've got a full day's work ahead of me and that I've got a deadline bang on at 7:30 p.m. and I go, I don't want to do this. So you know what I do? I lean back and I just look at the internet on my phone for a little bit. And I then kind of take a look back at my desk and see if I feel like it, see if I'm into it. And if I'm not, that's okay. Do a little bit of scrolling. Maybe I'll go and get a drink. Maybe I'll go and sit downstairs for a little bit, watch a YouTube video or something. And then I just kind of wait for inspiration to hit me, rather than the other way around, because sometimes it just, you're right, it just doesn't hit the same way. So here we are. Here is our guy. With all of his blood for the blood god applied. The camera's looking pretty warm today. Should we see if we can get that looking less? There we go. This is what it looks like. Yeah, sometimes I like pack everything away. The thing that can like kill inspiration so much is seeing a mountain of stuff to do. So like at the moment on my desk, what I have in front of me is I have this. So in my direct eye line, I have that. I have a finished model. I have another finished model. I have another finished model. I have a finished model. I have a waiting to be based model. And I have my next project, which is the Witch King of Angmar. And that's it. Now, I own hundreds of thousands of miniatures. Not hundreds of thousands, but I own hundreds of miniatures. And loads of them that are yet to do. But I keep my workstation area as clear as I possibly can when it comes to stuff to do, because it looks a lot less intimidating to have 3 models to paint than it does an entire army. And I always recommend this, even when it comes to like doing things like batch painting. If you're going to batch paint, I'd only do it in 5s, because if you look at like 30 Space Marines, 30 Space Marines is intimidating to look at. Doesn't matter who you are. 30 Space Marines is something like, oh, I've got to get all of them done. Especially when it's like a personal army that you want to have quite elevated or something. So I always recommend kind of keep your workstation down to as minimal amount of models as you possibly can. So now I need to move everything out of the way. You live over here, so I can keep you in my eye line for inspiration. This is where we're at. Whee! Look how bouncy it is. It's because it's attached to the base via these legs. It's like a Nurgle bobblehead. Frothy Paints, thank you very much for becoming a member. That's very, very kind of you. 333. Let's go, baby. We're halfway to the devil's number now. Hashtag just saying. Next goal, 666. I'm very pleased with this. This is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. And like realistically looking at it, the only things I think desperately... I mean, I elevate pretty much all of it, right? But the only things that desperately need elevating is the Man Reaper that he's holding. Because that's just like a flat black stick that he's holding. So that could do with a highlight. Of course it could. And his skin... doesn't really need many highlights because there aren't that many areas that are like visible. There's like areas like his fingers and stuff, but they don't really need it. And the metallics look like suitably rusty and things. So like Nurgle stuff's great for getting to Warhipster battle ready, because you can actually just absolutely just leave it there. But yeah, that is the halfway mark, because the fly, like I said, is mostly finished. But it pretty much is now that I've done that blood for the blood god. All as I did on the other one was I added a little bit of dawn yellow to some of like the pimples and things, which I will do on this one. The project I'm working on at work has a story number of 666. It's been a beast of a project for 18 months. It is the number of the beast. Is that an agile work environment that you are perhaps working in? Tale of Many Warhipsters question: would a lieutenant model meet the criteria for the specialist / other month? Absolutely, yeah. So the purpose of the specialist / other is if there's a non-battle line thing, it's basically a pickup, right? So like Custodes, right? Say that's the project that you're doing. You're going to do a leader, so you're going to do Trajann Valoris. And then you might do battle line, which would be Custodian Guard. But let's say, just for the sake of argument, that these Terminators are just normal Custodian Guard. So that would be my battle line option. And then my other / specialist would be that Dreadnought. And that right there is 1,000 points. But like, so like, you see what I mean? And then like the big thing could be a Dreadnought again. Could do another Dreadnought. Could do a Caladius. Could do an Ares gunship. Or alternatively, this one being a shield captain, it could be that I do my leader, my Terminators, my shield captain, or blade champion, or whatever. Insert here. Because not every army has big things. Not every army has specialists either. For those of you who work in corporate structures and understand what agile work environments are, I hate them with a passion. And I curse whoever it was who unleashed it upon the corporate world, because so many businesses don't understand what an agile work environment is. An agile work environment is supposed to be a solution and prioritization style framework for achieving a project, right? So you're creating an app and you have 150 things to do. You work out how much time and resource you have. You allocate based on the amount of those 150 tasks and which ones can be achieved and this, that, and the other during that week. And you move priorities based on, say, something breaks or there becomes an issue or whatever, this, that, and the other. Or, you know, it allows you to move throughout that project quite quickly. And at least quite efficiently as well. So, and it kind of just lays everything out on the table and shows you the whole roadmap. What most businesses understand what an agile work environment is they think that an agile work environment is do whatever I tell you whenever I want you to, the moment that I ask you to. That's not agile. And just saying that we're agile is not an excuse. And I got into this once with a previous boss, And I said, we don't work in an agile working environment. What we work in is fear of you giving us things to do. And he was like, no, this is agile. I was like, it's not agile. When you come up to me on a day and say, can you put together a PowerPoint presentation for this? That's not agile. You've just given me a task on the day. Hello, Laura. Yeah, do everything all at once and anything else I give you on top of that. The priorities change based on a person's whims, not on the project's whims, is how most businesses understand it, and they are completely flat wrong. I have had so many arguments with previous bosses about it. It's one of the reasons why I don't work in a corporate structure, because if you tell me something and you can't explain why, I will refuse to do it. So I have gotten into trouble in the past by working in agile work environments and sticking to the agile work as was determined based on the meeting that we had, either in the morning if we're going to have daily scrums, which is what they call it when you start the thing, or weekly. So if you give me my workload for the week, then I will work based on that. And if that workload changes based on the project at hand, I will work on that. I will not work on somebody's whim because they didn't do it. I once had a blazing row with a previous boss. You'll be unsurprised to hear. I had a blazing row with a previous boss because she didn't understand how agile was supposed to work, and I did, and she didn't like that. And so I was like, agile was invented as a way of it's web development. It was invented by technology companies, so making web products and app products and things like that. It wasn't invented by HR, and it was never really intended for HR. And I used to work in HR. I used to be a learning and development designer. So what you would have is situations where we would be working on something called an LMS. If you don't know what that is, it's a learning management system. Which is basically, if you work for a business, big business, that has a website called an academy or a learning center or a learning hub, or they might call it something stupid like a boost. They might call it something weird. But if you have a website where you go to do things like your health and safety, data protection, GDPR, all that kind of thing, that's the kind of stuff I used to make. So you could work on a learning management system and you could treat that as an agile project, but what you couldn't treat learning and development design as an agile job, because it's fundamentally not. Because it's all about kind of glide paths and long-term learning plans and this, that and the other, and creating stuff to support those types of things. Whereas when you are designing content for a learning management system, the learning management system's kind of production and improvement and implementation and all that kind of thing, that can be done agile, but creating content for it is not part of the agile workflow. So, no, I was wrong. Funnily enough, my contract wasn't renewed. Viewership just goes like this. I don't want to talk about work right now, Josh. I want to talk about Warhammer and Space Marines. I'm like, no. Have just come back from the gym and I'm no longer feeling agile. Exactly. That's how I felt every day I used to go to work. Will you be painting the big pig? Yes. When's it out? One of the best conversations I ever had was somebody who sat me down. And they're like, we're going to be implementing a new style of working. And I said, can I just stop you there? Is this going to be agile? Said, yes. Have you encountered agile before? It's pretty rare. And I was like, it's not. It's also inappropriate for what we're doing. But I went to a seminar at the weekend and they said it was great. It was like, yep, I bet they did. And I bet you listened to the wrong parts of that and thought, oh, that's great. You're right, Chewie. Every business does that. You will someone. This is the workflow, right? Someone somewhere will hear about something like agile as a way of working. They'll then send 3 to 4 of their middle managers to a seminar about it. They won't know really what it's about, but they'll send 3 or 4 of their managers to a seminar about it. Those managers will go and they'll hear the bits that they like and they'll discount the bits that they don't like. And the bits that they don't like are the bits that make it essential to making the framework run. So they'll come back and they'll implement the bits that they like and not the bits that they don't like. Because the bits that they don't like mean that agile can be quite immovable as a way of working, because you're ascribing people's time to points and values, and you're saying the way as it was taught to me was let's say writing a bit of code, or in my case it was, let's say designing an e-learning module is 12 points and designing a video is 50 points and recording a podcast is 10 points, and let's say there's 4 of us and per week we can manage 50 points. So theoretically during that week then I should be able to make 1 video in the same time as it takes somebody else to do 2 e-learning modules, right? And that's how you divide the work. But similarly, you could make me do 25 points on the video and somebody else do 25 points on the video and an e-learning module. So I could do half a video and half an e-learning module. That's how it works, fundamentally. And that means it can be quite immovable, because you end up with stuff where people don't have capacity or they're over capacity for what they can manage in a week. But what always happens is anyone who doesn't like working in an agile work environment sees it coming from a mile away. So when it gets implemented, I sat down once with the service and said, how many points, if we assume like an hour is 1 point, how many points do you think it takes you to do 1 PDF? And I went, 100. They're like, it takes you 100 hours to do 1 PDF. Yep. Right. So it'll take you nearly 3 weeks to do 1 PDF. That's correct. Except I know that you can do that in a morning, so you don't know anything. We're starting from scratch here, baby, if that's what we're doing. My new boss insists on everyone in the department sitting to a new person for each meeting, and it's so dumb, as I only need to speak to the people on my team, not some other random people. Yeah. But they're trying to promote inclusivity within your workplace that you didn't necessarily want before. Hello, Mr. Gwatkin Gaming. Hello, Mr. Biltong Boob. In the house. The bits they don't like are the bits that they don't have full control over. God forbid your staff should be given any autonomy. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I have had so many bad managers in my time that don't know how to manage me. And I don't think I'm a problem child. I'm an annoying child, for sure. But I'm not a problem child. But one of my issues, as I said earlier, is that if you tell me to do something and I don't understand why, I'm going to ask you. And if the best you can come up with is because I told you so, I will never follow you as a leader, ever. Similarly, if you ask me to do something that I don't agree with, and you can't explain why, and you also say you do it because I told you to, I will never follow you as a leader. Because I don't have to like the reason, but you have to have a reason. Yeah, well, yeah. It is a bit of a problem child thing for me. But it's just like there's those quotes that get thrown around on the internet all the time of you don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. You hire smart people to tell you what you should be doing. And I hate going into a structure that is so solid of all of the expertise trickles downhill. There is no updraft. So when you end up in a team where you have a leader or a manager that is, we do things my way or it's the highway, it's like, what's the point in hiring me then? Because we had an interview where you asked me my solutions for things, and then you liked what you heard, so you hired me, and then I've come in to implement those solutions, and you're saying no because that's not the way we do things. So it's like, it's pointless me being here then. I'm recycling the bottle, Cameron Simpson, don't you worry. We bought this 2 weeks ago. This is like the 25th round of water. What's your manager at Warhipster Towers like? He/she is great. Fantastic. Bit of a taskmaster. Does hand down the occasional stupid project like, let's do 35 videos about Leviathan, let's do that. But I understand the reasoning. Oh, it's just maddening. It's maddening. It's like, I always, whenever I used to do hiring, because like I said, I used to be part of HR. Whenever I used to be in on interviews, I would always ask people about previous experiences they had with bosses. And the way they would, especially if they were in a leadership position. And I would like kind of ask them like, just like, what kinds of things have you learned from previous managers that you think you would implement in your role here? And that is so telling because, you know, so many middle to senior managers are just mirrors of the poor treatment they got from someone else. And they were never people I ever wanted inside an organization that I was a part of, because they would end up just dragging down the team. You know, and you never want that, ever. You don't want to inflict that on anyone. And we all do it, right? It's like, you know, as I have learnt what not to do from a lot of my previous managers. There are a number of people who learn that that's the way you do things, and it's not, because what you actually got there was poor treatment as a human being. You didn't get good leadership. I don't have a Kanban board, no. I have endless lists. Can you tell I've had this conversation before, Captain Mannerings? I'm a bit practiced at this one. Honestly. Oh, I guarantee you at Games Workshop, it will be the same thing. There'll be teams that are led by excellent people, and there'll be teams that are led by really bad managers, who aren't necessarily suited to the task. Every corporation has that same issue. Every single one. And it's often because like you can take a bad manager and you can turn them into a good manager. But that's where companies need to adopt kind of a much flatter structure when it comes to communication. And that's one thing I've always talked about is that when you restrict communication up the chain through points of contact, then you'll never hear about problems ever. So if I own a business and I only have my direct reports that I talk to me, they're only ever going to want to look good. So they're not going to tell me about the problems that are happening in their team, especially when it comes to a personal or professional issue that they have with an individual. Whereas individuals should be able to go beyond the person that's causing them the problem. But what they do is they instigate you can't go over someone's head policy. So people leave. They leave because they don't want to be there anymore. And then people wonder, I wonder why there's so much churn in that team. We're just, we're not getting the hiring right. Oh, yeah? What words are you missing from the job description? We need somebody who's a sucker who will do whatever I tell them to. Oh, it's terrible. Corporate work structure is an absolute shambles. Joe, one thing I nearly did instead of YouTube was start a consultancy business. And I've written like 3/4 of a book about my views on how corporate structures should work. I haven't finished it because I paint Warhammer and that's much more interesting. And also, I'm just, like, not a name. But I showed some of it to a previous manager of mine, who was actually very good. Because she'd come up through the ranks under some really terrible regimes. And kind of sympathized a lot with that. She believed that there comes a point in seniority where expertise within that particular field was no longer necessary, but below that there had to be varying degrees, so there had to be separation, right? So like if you think of a team as being sort of like 4 levels, then you need people at the bottom to know what they're doing. So let's say it is learning and development design. What you need is your designers to know how to design. You then need the person who's in charge of the designers to know the kind of ins and outs of design. So they just need to be a senior designer that can, one, support down, but also push back upwards. Then the person who's in charge of those senior designers, they don't necessarily have to know design, but they have to understand the rough concepts of design. And then the person above that doesn't need to know design. Just needs to know how people and time and resource management works. But what you often have is you have people who know how to design and somebody who doesn't is in charge of them. And so they're just like, why isn't it done? And it's like, because you gave it to us this morning. It's like, well, it doesn't take that long. It's like, yes, it does. Side topic, what's your PC specs and favourite multiplayer game and player game? My PC specs. I have an RTX 40... No. I don't have a 40. I'd love a 40. Subscribe now. Become a member. Super chat. I have an RTX 3060 and an Intel Core i5 11400F, I think is what it is. In this one. In this computer. So this computer is intended for streaming, which it does really well. Because I get 10,000 bit rate on this very easily. I could probably jack it to 20, but I don't need to. 10,000 bit rate on this computer, which is great. Multiplayer game of all time or right now? Because my favourite multiplayer game of all times was Call of Duty 4 or Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original Modern Warfare. That was an amazing multiplayer game. Slightly different multiplayer game would be World of Warcraft. I played that religiously. Sometimes I go through times where I will pick it up and I will do nothing else for a month because I'll play it for that length of that month and then I won't subscribe for any longer than that. But Call of Duty 4, otherwise known as Modern Warfare, was probably the best time for multiplayer. Another good one was Gears of War 2. I really enjoyed that in the co-op. And I really liked Resident Evil 5 as well. It's problematic, that game, but the multiplayer was great. Single player games, God of War 2016, probably one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. It's definitely in my top 3. Top 5/10 games. Final Fantasy X is in there. Final Fantasy VII Remake is really good. I just want to see what the second part is like, because that will determine whether or not that is as good as Final Fantasy VII originally was. Favorite single player games, it's not a great game, but it is pretty good. Metal Gear Solid 2, it's not as good as Metal Gear Solid 1, but I have a lot of nostalgia for that game because I played it to death. Other top ones, there's loads. I've played so many games in my life. I'm struggling to think of all of them now. I'd have to log into my Xbox account to see some of those ones. I mean, they said God of War 2016 was one of the best things I've ever played, and Ragnarok was almost as good. Not quite, but almost as good. I really enjoyed it. The Last of Us is great. And I really liked Part 2 as well. I thought Part 2 was better. In terms of gameplay, and story was just as good, albeit quite sad and depressing. What else have I played? I've just gone completely blank. I'll always have a soft spot for Halo 1 to 3. I always will. Hello, Kataro. Football Manager series. Football Manager 2015 was the last one I played, and I loved it. And is it Jorge Alvarez or is it George? Anyway, thank you very much for becoming a member. That is very, very kind of you. It's time to update. The Witcher 3, yeah, man, that was a great single player experience. That was a fantastic single player experience. Let me look at a list. Best single player games of all time. I'll tell you how many of these I've played. Okay, so Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is apparently one of the best. Yes, it is. Marvel's Spider-Man, yep, that was amazing. Doom Eternal, yep. Red Dead Redemption 2, yep. The Outer Worlds, I've not played that. Death Stranding, I have it, I've not done it. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, why is that up there? Because I just said Elden Ring is the best one from Software. And Elden Ring is a single player experience like none other. But it's also excellent as a multiplayer game. Fallout 4. I'm not a big fan of Fallout. I prefer Skyrim. The Last of Us Part 2. Yep, that was a great game. Ghost of Tsushima. That was excellent. Got a little bit tiring towards the end because I did everything to the point of where it was too easy. So, you know, like if you've played Ghost of Tsushima, those cinematic bits where you know, the challenge thing, I had it so that you could do, I think it was 5 off the rip. So just be like, dead, 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 dead. And I was like, this is too easy now. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yep, that was very good. Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Really? I thought that was one of the worst Assassin's Creed games I've played. I mean, not the worst. It was alright. But Black Flag was better. Dark Souls. Yeah. Metal Gear Solid is in here. Skyrim. Grand Theft Auto 5. Metroid. I played Metroid on the GameCube. I really liked that version. Really? Horizon. It's about as bass an open world as it could possibly get. Elden Ring. There it is. Resi 4. How could I forget about Resi 4? Star Wars Jedi. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's an interesting list there, Digital Trends. Hello, Adam. How are you, sir? Top 50 single-player games of all time. Bloodborne in number 1. See it. When you start thinking about From Software games, you remember Dark Souls, Dark Souls 3, less 2, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro. Horizon is great. Horizon's fine. Aloy is about as bland a character as it's possible to be. It made me laugh with Aloy because she's just so aggressive to everyone all of the time, and I'm just like, there's no need to be that aggressive. I'm playing as like you choose like a really passive, nice thing in the conversation options, and she's just like, "Well, screw you, man." It's not what I asked you to say. Horizon's all right. I just didn't think it was. Again, I thought it got a bit repetitive after a while once you figured out how to kill every one of the machines. So it's just like, yep, cool, done, easy. So Bloodborne, God of War, Last of Us Part 1, The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Red Dead Redemption 2, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Again, Sekiro making a really high appearance. Max Payne. Well, Max Payne 2. Max Payne 2 was good. Dead Space. Love Dead Space. The Elder Scrolls. Skyrim. Bioshock. Yes. Castlevania. Symphony of the Night. Yes. Mass Effect 2. Yes. Halo Combat Evolved, of course. Hollow Knight, of course. Metal Gear Solid 3. Uncharted 4. Oh, I forgot about the Uncharted series. Half-Life 2. Doom. I've played all of these, by the way. Metro Last Light. Elden Ring. Lord of the Rings, The Battle for Middle-earth 2. Really? That's interesting to me. I mean, I have played it. Divinity Original Sin 2 is on here. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Grow up. The Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Who can forget? That game was amazing. The Warriors. Sure. Wolfenstein, The New Order. See, I didn't like Wolfenstein, The New Order. I really liked Return to Castle Wolfenstein because the multiplayer in it was the best multiplayer I've ever played. You leveled up in match, which was great. Alan Wake, Batman Arkham Asylum. Spider-Man, Far Cry 3, yeah. Ghost of Tsushima, Portal 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider. I thought the first one was better. Dishonored. Dishonored's good. Prince of Persia. Really, Final Fantasy 16 has made it onto the 50 best single-player games of all time. It's only been out a month. Wow. This list just gives up towards the end. Oh dear. Deary me. Scraping the bottom of the barrel there. Oh man. I've said it before, I would love to do a gaming channel. It's an impossibly difficult audience to break into. And also it's a hell of a time sink. Mr. Warhipster, do you support a football team? Nutshell, yes I do. I support the mighty Manchester United. Have done since the age of the beginning. And I feel like that upsets less people the more and more they don't win anything. 10 years ago, I would have been torn apart. These days, it's like, yeah, they're shit now. Dead Space 1 and 2 are excellent. Dead Space 3 is a dumpster fire. Ratchet and Clank, yeah, I've played Ratchet and Clank. I really enjoyed those. Other ones that are similar. Banjo-Kazooie. Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's not similar. It's very sweary. But Conker's Bad Fur Day is an excellent game from the N64. Who do you support, Nutshell? If you're so disappointed in me. Abe's Odyssey, great shout. Parappa the Rapper. It's so funny when I think back. I'm 32. I've been playing games for 26 years, as long as I've been playing Warhammer. Do you remember the Legacy of Kain series? No. The Great Talking Pooh, yeah. I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you. A huge supply of tish comes from my chocolate starfish. How about some scat, you little twat? I remember it very well. I mean, I played Sega on the Mega Drive. Not Sega on the Mega Drive. Sonic. On the Mega Drive. And the Master System, in fact. I also remember a game on the N64 called Jet Force Gemini. I don't know if anyone else remembers that. I always have really fond memories of that. I also really liked Rogue Squadron. I was saying this to Alice the other day. I love flying games. Like where you fly as like a starfighter or something. Rogue Squadron was great for that. And I really liked Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2. With the dogfight scenario. I preferred that much more to the ground combat. But I also really like Jedi Starfighter. Does anyone remember that one? Have you ever played Fable? I played Fable 1, 2, and 3. And 4. Is there a fourth one? I've played every Fable game except for the one that's on the rails. And any of the kind of other... I've played the mainline ones. I remember I have great fond memories of some of the Fable games, and I hated some of the other ones. GoldenEye on the N64, yes, but Perfect Dark as well. Perfect Dark was an excellent GoldenEye ripoff. I'd say it was better than GoldenEye Perfect Dark. Yeah, I played Dynasty Warriors a lot as well. Dynasty Warriors progressively got worse as time went on. Like, I remember, I think it was Dynasty Warriors 5 might have been the best one. Because it was like, 1's okay, 2's alright, 3's 4, 4's fine, 5's fine. it was when they started bringing out, was it Gundam Warriors? It's when they started doing other ones. That's when it started to go downhill because it tried to be too complicated. And it's just like, no, don't do that, because it's him just being. It's just like, no, I'm done. I'm out. The X-Wing and the TIE Fighter games way back then. I played those. X-Wing and TIE Fighter. MS-DOS had to run them on. Star Wars Pod Racer, that's a classic. Yeah. Yeah. I also liked Force Unleashed. I liked Knights of the Old Republic. We're just talking about video games now. This is what I mean. I could do a sweet gaming channel, I think. It's a lot of time to commit. I'd have to abandon Warhammer for a while. Control was sick. Yeah, I was really enjoying Control. I thought it was great. I can't remember what disrupted it. Like, Control was crazy. I was like, I am so engaged in this. And then I think I maybe like went away for a week, and then a game came out that I really wanted it. It might have been Elden Ring, actually. Elden Ring might have obliterated Control. Well, that's the beauty of games, isn't it? Like, I feel like even if you're like sort of 5 or 6 years older than me, we would all remember mostly the same things, because the gaming industry as a whole, right, isn't that old. So it's like people who are about like sort of people who are teenagers now, they don't understand. They don't understand how good gaming was back then. You don't understand, man. You don't know what it was like when Halo Combat Evolved came out. And Halo 2's multiplayer, man. Oh, those were the days. I remember the very first video game that I played was my grandfather had one of the very old, what were they called? Was it the Saturn? Just Pong, basically. But it was one that had like 10 different variations of Pong built into it. Can't remember. It was orange, as I recall. That was the very first video game I played. I must have been at 3 or 4. And I've personally had I had a me and my brothers, I should say, Master System, Mega Drive, Xbox, N64, not in order, Xbox, N64, GameCube, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Dreamcast we had for a little while. Didn't get a Switch. And then I after the Xbox 360, I went over to PlayStation. I bought a PlayStation 4. And I have a PlayStation 5 now. I would love to get a Switch and play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But I just don't have the money. Streets of Rage, that's a great game. Did anyone ever play Myst? Spelled MYST. Games like that. Monkey Island. I've forgotten about Monkey Island. I loved Monkey Island. Kelly is playing Tears of the Kingdom downstairs. I'm very jealous. You'll have to hide that from me when I come over this weekend, Adam, because I will procure it. And I will not leave anything behind. I'll be in and out. I mean, speaking of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker. I didn't play Skyward Sword, but I played all 3 of those. This is what I mean. Like I said, I would love to do Warhipster games. It's just it's time, isn't it? I played Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. We need a Switch fund for Josh. Become a member now or super chat. I should just pick a day a week where I stream video gaming. Like there's like Warhammer games and stuff, like as early back as God, what's it called? Space Hulk. And Fire Warrior I remember very fondly. And actually on the channel we did do a full run through of Space Marine a couple of years ago now. I think it was 2 years ago on my old laptop, and I want to do it again because I've got a balling system where it would look great. Hey, 69 likes. You guys know how to treat a lady. I did a run through of Space Marine, and I want to do it again in the build up to Space Marine 2. And I would love for them to send me Space Marine 2 early so that I can play it for you guys. And I fully intend to play a lot of Space Marine 2 right here on the channel. But it's one of those things, right, where like if you do too much of different topics of stuff, you kind of hurt the YouTube algorithm a little bit. So it's like, as much as I want to do it, it's probably best doing another channel. But YouTube themselves have recently said, don't do that. Do it all on one channel. And it's like, well, if I just upload Warhipster Plays Final Fantasy 16, you guys get cross at me and then you don't share it with anyone. You send it to a whole bunch of new people who then, you know, video gaming is a very tough space to get into these days because there's so many great video gaming YouTubers out there. So really you want to be the Warhammer games YouTuber, as it were. But there aren't that many great Warhammer games. I think it's fair to say. You know, I think Total War is a great game. But it's difficult to stream that one. I have a soft spot for Zone of the Enders. I was living in a cold house and we were largely inebriated, just button mashing fun with crazy graphics. Zone of the Enders is great fun. I enjoyed Zone of the Enders. Speaking of older games, Shadow of the Colossus. How can I forget about that? Shadow of the Colossus is an amazing game. Dawn of War is still king. See, yeah, Dawn of War, one of the best Warhammer games. Frothy Paints, you asked me a question about Black Legion and then you retracted it. What happened? See, this is the thing. I would love to still have all my old consoles, but when we were growing up, like, I think the first console we had was the Master System. And in order to be able to get a Mega Drive, we had to trade in the Master System because we couldn't afford other ones. And that was how we went through up until when I was old enough to buy a PlayStation 4 for myself. No, an Xbox 360 for myself. I bought an Xbox 360 for myself. Pressed send too soon. Oh, I see. Do you find that Black Legion rubs off miniatures rather easily? Keep accidentally rubbing it off on the carapace of my Nids. I haven't found that. But most of the time with Black Legion, I seal it down with a shade anyway to get it nice and dark. So maybe try, if that's something that you're running into, maybe try putting like Nuln Oil over it just to make it really, really sealed in. Then it shouldn't rub off. Where's the stream gone? There you are. You played on an Atari 64. I bought mine with my hard-earned cash back in the day. I bought some games with it and always regretted buying E.T. the game. Why would you regret buying E.T. the game? Is it bad? Do you remember that trend when there used to be loads of games that would come out as games based on movies? I miss that a little bit. I mean, I'm glad that they don't do it very often anymore because a lot of them were bad. But I do miss that trend just a little bit. Neil, welcome to Battlehipster. Thank you very much for becoming a member. Your 5th new member today. It's very kind of you. My dad thought a good game would be the PS1's Duke Nukem Land of the Babes. Did you ever play... Did you ever play the Duke Nukem most recent one? It was awful. It was really bad. They buried all the unsold copies in the desert. I didn't know that. That's quite something. Do you remember Heart of Darkness on the PS1? Had it on the PC. Proper creepy for a kids game. I didn't play that, no, but I do remember it. There was a Fellowship of the Ring game, but it wasn't based on the movie. It came out sort of as the movie had come out, but the Fellowship of the Ring game was bad. It wasn't, because it came out shortly after the Fellowship of the Ring movie had come out, but it was a game that was more based on the book. So there's a whole section with Tom Bombadil and all that kind of thing in it. So if you bought it having watched the film and you were really excited for it, you'd be like, what the hell am I playing? Yeah. I remember trying to like it. I just couldn't. It wasn't a good video gaming experience. Hey, what's the difference between Blood Angels and Flesh Tearers Red Contrast Space? Do you reckon I could use Flesh Tearers Red for the Auric Cruel Boys shields? Yeah, you absolutely could. Blood Angels Red is brighter. So Flesh Tearers Red has got more elements of purple in it than Blood Angels Red does. And Blood Angels Red has got more, I guess, brown would be what you would say it would have in it. Basically, Blood Angels Red is brighter than Flesh Tearers Red. So anything that you do with Flesh Tearers Red will come out darker than Blood Angels Red would. I was supposed to be painting a Pusgoyle Blightlord. I mean, to be fair, we got it to Warhipster Battle ready. But we just started talking about video games. Maybe what I should do, and tell me if you guys would be into this. Maybe what we should do is we should do a Wednesday night is a hobby stream. And then like maybe Friday or Tuesday is a video gaming stream. Joe, that's a very, very sad bombardment. I'm on my way, don't worry. I will be there soon. I'm going to be streaming for about 10 more minutes because we'd like to do 2 hours around here. Is that the National Treasure, Joe? It is the National Treasure, Joe. You're ready to receive me. Sideways. Cameron, I'll probably do the new Nids as Leviathan. And the reason for that is because I would like my army to match. Now, I'm hoping that they send me the Termagants and the Hormagaunts so that I can do a couple more high fleets. So a lot of people want Typhon and a proper Tiamat video. Nobody's asked for a Lotan video, interestingly. Yeah, so I'm hoping that I get another box of Termagants so I can do a few more videos that way. But like I said, I will probably do them as Leviathan because it will just give me I'll have a Tyranid army then. And it kind of is in keeping with the rest of what we've done so far. That said, if I get sent duplicates of things, then I will do some of the other ones as well. Can we get to 100 likes, people? We're on 77. Can we get 23 more likes? And can we pick up 65 new members? Are you going to be doing your set as Lotan, Adam? You're abandoning the yellow bugs. This music is now just like popping off for absolutely no reason. Listen to this. It's excellent stuff. No. There's the Highfleet Lotan. It's red with more red. So red carapace with red skin, but like red and then dark red. What Space Marine chapter should I build? I mean, I'm always going to say Blood Angels, because Blood Angels are the best in the world. And I do love myself a Blood Angel. I do need to do some Idoneth Deepkin, and I will one day. If you delay long enough, Adam, for Christmas, you can then say, I'll be like, so Adam, what do you want for your Christmas present? And you'll be like, the only thing I want, more than anything in the world, is the Eidolon of Mathlan. And I will accept no other gift from you. And I'll be like, well, how else am I going to prove my love for you than painting you an Eidolon of Mathlan? And you'll be like, well, you're just going to have to do that for me, Josh. And then I will do that. Atlantean Spears have a sick scheme. They do have a sick scheme. And you can paint Atlantean Spears very simply just by using... Where is it? This colour right here. Nighthawk Gloom. I just threw it on the table. Nighthawk Gloom. Right there. That is Atlantean Spears in a bottle. I know you have. And I'm looking forward to seeing your Idoneth Deepkin. I don't have time to pick one up and show you how I would do it yet, though. How much is the Eidolon of Mathlan these days? Okay. Okay. Sick. It's such a pretty model. I love it so much. No, it didn't, Colonel. Don't worry. Lugubrious Crumhorn is a fantastic name, and I believe I've told you that before, John. I adore it. It's an excellent name. $81 likes on the stream. Love it. Let's pump those numbers. Which one's the other one? Oh, Aspect of the Sea. They're still the same thing. I thought it was the Eidolon or something else. Oh, Lugubrious Crumhorn. John, thank you so much for the 50. That is very, very kind of you. You didn't have to do that. Legends of the chat. Oh. Neil, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships. Jordan Brotherton, GTs and 90, Java S, Meg. Hello, Meg. Tommy Gaffo. If you're here, do say thank you to Neil for gifting you those memberships. $340, let's go! And Adam coming in with the 5 gifted. You're very generous, sir. Stephen Walker, Mark Rutherford, and PT13. My man. Kevin Leith. Lugubrious Grumhorn. Congratulations. Well, John, that means you're just a super fan. The day's been pretty good, Adam. We have got our second Pusgoyle Blightlord up to the Warhipster battle ready, so I'm going to do the highlights later this evening. And then this video, hopefully, should be ready tomorrow. And then we move on to other things, such as the Vampire Lord. But it's been good. Today's been a good, productive day. I'm pleased with myself. But it is 10:30. So we're probably going to leave it there now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for John. John dropping the 10 gifted. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. I did finish my Vampire Lord. Hey bud, would you do me a favour and do a shout out to a friend of mine, Steve Boyd? He's a big fan after I put him on to you. Steve Boyd, what's cooking, my man? Shout out to you. Thank you very much for being a fan. Let me know. Get in touch. Join a stream and tell me what you've been working on. I'd love to see it. You're one of the kick-ass hobbyists in the world because you are a fan of Warhipster. And you painting some miniatures. Shout out to you, sir. From me, via Peter. But thank you. Thank you for watching. I need to text you back, Peter, about dinner. I will do so. We're probably okay to go. We can go for a beefy, boys. And Adam will be really jealous about that. But is it an agile admin job? No. No, it's not. Adam has no responsibilities. I very nearly started today's stream off playing the guitar for all of you. It seems that my singing last Saturday was very popular. And I may do so again. I'll start doing music videos and video gaming videos. And I'll immediately lose 10,000 subscribers. But yes. Thank you so much for your generosity. John, Adam, Frothy Paints, Neil. Let me just scroll up here. Oh, I can't go all the way back to the beginning. All messages. We need a Warhipster album. There is one. It's not called Warhipsters Music. There is one out there somewhere. One day I'll be brave enough to put my own music out there. In front of all of you on one of my videos, and I'll let you try and guess which one it is. You'll just hear me. 'Cause I'm not saying I'm a teacher. All that kind of thing. But yes, we're going to end there, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. You guys, as Lugubrious Crumhorn John has said there, you're one of the good ones. You all out there are the good ones. You are all Warhipsters. Thank you so much for watching. Tale of Many Warhipsters coming soon. Don't forget, you've got 30 days in September, April, June, and November. You've got 12 days left to work on your first ones. Make sure you get them submitted to me. I've already had 8 submissions so far. 2 of which were tests. I've had 6 submissions. So, and we're 2 weeks away. It's going to be a big one, I reckon. So make sure you do take part in Tale of Many Warhipsters. You guys are amazing. I love you very much. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Thank you very, very much. See you later. Bye for now. Bye. Bye. Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye. 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 Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye. Love you. Bye. Bye.